because a lot of people listening are in Washington, D.C. and in state capitals, policy is important. And are there any policies that either concern you with overregulation, underregulation, privacy?
Yeah, like you asked about the policy stuff. I do think on the I think the government can there's two things I think are worth getting on people's radar. One, if you look in the history of hard technology, the other thing that government plays is the role of a buyer, right? Like, why did the vaccines go so well? Well, the government stepped up and said, don't worry, we will buy all of these, make them as fast as you can, build manufacturing alongside the clinical trials. We don't care. We're like pre-purchasing. Okay. Right. Like that's not so different, I would say, than like what the government did in the 50s with the semiconductor industry, when half of the demand for semiconductors in the United States was coming from the Defense Department for Minuteman, for aeronautical, aviation, electronics, and so on. The reason the US got Intel, and by the way, you didn't know which company it was going to be. It could have been Fairchild or Intel or TI at the time. But the reason you knew a US company was going to win semiconductors because the US was like just buying them all and making them all, right? Like, it's one of those things you don't screw up, right? And then we rode Intel for 50 years, right? Like good thing, and so those are. And so I think one thing the US can do is make sure it's buying synthetic biology, right? As particularly as we're looking to onshore more things, certain critical drugs, APIs, those can all be made with SynBio. I think the Human Genome Project is just, I think, a great example of how the US occasionally will put its foot on the scale to make sure we win in a new strategic technology area. And it's something I think you do see, China, for example, with their 5-year plans, being very, intentional about this in a very top-down way. It's a bit different, but I think it's something that is coming up. Is actually going to increase in importance for the U.S. compared to maybe the last 20 to 30 years, just because we haven't had as much of a great state competition, right, since the fall of the Soviet Union, and so certain technologies, I think you can look at like AI and quantum are often on this short list. I think synthetic biology increasingly is on this list. You want to make sure that if we want to project US values in these technologies,